Welcome. We have so much to talk about today.
A lot to talk about. Let's start. Where should we start today from?
Well, yesterday, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy said that he was going to launch an inquiry into the impeachment of President Joe Biden. For what, we don't know, but it appears to be that it's because he is struggling with his far-right caucus over budget talks that where President Biden would look to negotiate with Republicans to strike a deal to keep the government going. And in fact, what the hard right is looking for is maybe a government shutdown.
You have been covering the White House and the DC Congress for so long. Tell me, what's your sense? Does it really need an impeachment, or is it tit for tat?
It's not. It's more tit for tat. This is all just talk. There is no way that President Biden's going to be impeached. Even moderate.
You think so?
Because moderate Republicans in swing districts know that they'll lose votes if they vote for impeachment. And right now, Kevin McCarthy only has about 4 votes to keep his majority. And impeachment is always a terrible idea for any Congress, no matter what the issue was. Even when President Trump was impeached for attempting to extort an ally in order to dig up dirt on a political opponent, his poll ratings went up after the Senate acquittal. There is no way that Republicans are going to win from this, but I guess that's what happens when you gamble.
But why is Speaker McCarthy doing this?
He's desperate. He's desperate for his job. Unfortunately, what it shows is, if you're going to be in that position, you need to be able to say to people, you know what, I don't care. Do what you want. And he would earn a lot of respect from both sides.
If he takes these steps, right, he has taken those steps, and he cannot walk back. If he walks back, to look bad. If he's defeated, he's again looking back.
But bad. You know what? Yeah. His predecessor, Nancy Pelosi, was one of the most effective House speakers this country has ever seen. And earlier on in her first round as a House Speaker, she was negotiating for what became the Affordable Care Act, or the ACA. And her moderate members of her caucus said, but if I vote for this, I'm going to lose re-election. And she said, what is a higher calling for you? Whether or not you get re-elected, or do you care more about doing the right thing for the American people? And she won a tremendous amount of respect for that. And those people, by the way, that did vote for the ACA, that complained that they might lose re-election, they did. But that was the legacy, and so people make a choice as to how they want to go.
So you think this is not going anywhere?
No. And I don't even see how
the White House believes the same thing.
Well, the White House is like, oh, sure. I mean, the trouble is that it does risk a government shutdown, because the MAGA Republicans have made it clear that they do not want to negotiate for a new budget. And it could create a mess, but it could create a mess, most importantly, for Republicans.
In 3.5 months from now, we are heading into an election year in January onwards. Right? We'll have primaries, GOP primaries in January. President Biden doesn't face any major challenge from his party, so it's true. But tell me, what is his chances of running for presidency looks like? Well,
he is also facing some pushback from people from his own tribe. I mean, for instance, David Ignatius wrote a very important piece in the Washington Post saying, because President Biden has achieved so much, and because he is old, and because he has got, there are issues, he should not run for re-election. He should just let a younger generation take the reins. And there is even more talk of that these days going on, that maybe he should think about it. Now, I was attempted to ask the press secretary today about that, but she didn't call on me.
Yeah, you had several questions you asked today.
Yes, I did. I asked John Kirby about whether or not the United States would look into a renewed JCPOA.
Why wouldn't the administration re-engage, if it would be possible, with the JCPOA?
Well, we wanted it to be possible. I mean, my goodness, the first couple of years of this administration, we worked hard to try to get us back into the JCPOA, and Iran kept larding up the negotiations with things that had nothing to do with their nuclear program, and we realized the futility of the effort. So we stopped putting energy and effort into it, all around the time that they were whipping and beating female protesters. So we held them accountable for that. That was a significant moment as well. Look, the president has been very consistent that we want to make sure they never achieve a nuclear weapons capability. He would vastly prefer to do that through diplomacy. But that's just not a viable option right now.
On Ukraine, what is the administration's goal? Is it to defeat Russia, or is it ultimately to seek some sort of negotiated settlement?
Man, I don't know how many times I've answered this question in the last year and a half. And we have been, again, very, very consistent. We want to see Ukraine succeed on the battlefield. We want to see them get all their territory back. We want to see their sovereignty respected. We want to see no Russian troops inside Ukraine. We want to see the war end. And it could end today, obviously, if Mr. Putin would do the right thing and just get the hell out. That's clearly not going to happen right now. So we're going to continue to provide Ukraine with the capabilities that they need to be successful.
And I also asked him about whether what the tangible damage done by Senator Tommy Tuberville to halt or to stop the promotion of senior military officers.
About the holdup of military appointments from Tommy Tuberville, what is the tangible damage being done to the military by a holdup on appointments of military officers?
I can't say it any better than the leaders of the DOD have been able to say. You've got more than 300 now generals and admirals who are frozen, can't move, which means that in many cases, literally hundreds of cases, you've got officers that are doing two jobs, two big jobs, while they're still trying to maintain readiness, and readiness is starting to get affected by this.
What else is happening in the city?
Well, we've got right now. We're right entering into the fall. The budget negotiations loom over everything. I mean, I think lawmakers are more concerned about that than they are about anything else. And also, Democrats, I mean, we've got to say, as we go into the election year, Democrats are almost blessed by having an opponent in former President Trump, because he is so disliked by a wide swath of the American people. Whereas Nikki Haley, who has very low polling ratings right now among the primary voters, Republican primary voters, all polls show if she were to run directly against President Biden, she has a very good opportunity to win. So,
But the poll shows, tell us, what is former President Trump's chances of winning an election against President Biden?
The general election,
Yeah.
very little. But of course, the thing is that there's, in this town...
Within the party, he is most popular.
Yeah, he is.
50+.
Right.
Yeah.
Very popular within the party.
Nationwide,
But nationwide, he doesn't have it. The weird thing is that President Trump won, he had a black swan where he won the 2016 election. People say, well, because of all these court cases that are going on, that he has a possibility of being convicted and going into jail. There is zero chance that a former president of the United States will go to jail. The Secret Service will not tolerate that. I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. I mean, he might be convicted, he might face some house arrest. I could see that, but he is never going to go to jail. The question I have is his supporters and people that have been charged along him. Do they understand this? That they actually might go to jail for alleged crimes if they're convicted. But not the former president. That will never happen in the United States of America.
Well, it is said that nothing is certain in politics until the last vote is counted, and we'll keep on watching what's happening in the politics here, the race to the White House, till next November, right?
You got it. Anyway, and yes,
keep you updated. Time to
right. And don't forget to look over here underneath Lalit at our Friday Roundup, and over here at our 2-minute tirades. See ya.
Thank you. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.